The Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Pro 360s bring a lot of new features to the table this year with a whole new Intel chipset, AI enhancing amps, and a big beautiful display. But did it fix last year's horrendous glare problems, the thermals, and fan noise? There's a lot of things I'm going to show you in detail in today's video, so stick around because I think you're going to like this one. Hey everyone, I'm Rich. Let's talk about the elephant in the room first, their convertible 2-in-1 design. There we go. What do you think? I've grown to like Samsung's approach on the Galaxy Book 360 series. You can have this in tent mode, which is cool, as it can act as another display or is nice for watching media, or in tablet mode, which is useful for note-taking, drawing, content creation, and a myriad of other things. Their hinges have always been very durable. Each time I open and close this screen up, it genuinely feels like the hinges are built out of solid materials and the craftsmanship shows. It looks minimal yet sharp enough for me to confidently smile back and think to myself, damn, they built this pretty well. My only concern though is that the screen slightly wobbles. I'm used to the super stiff MacBook screen, so going back to this caught me off guard. If I pick this up fast enough, the screen will fall down and sometimes even fall flatter, causing me to worry if the display will, potentially fall off or hit the table when I set it down. So I do feel just a bit more cautious with this. I find it most annoying though if I were to sit down on a couch or a chair and have this laptop sit on my lap at this, as it just keeps falling down. Other than that, Windows 11 seems to pick up my screen rotation pretty responsibly. My biggest problem with other 2-in-1s are when they rotate slow and are glitchy, but with this one, I think it's pretty good. The 360 is very light, coming in at around 3.66 pounds or 1,660 grams, and is relatively thin. I had no trouble sliding this in and out of my backpack to use this. I really dig their sleek finish and moonstone gray colorway that they call it. It looks premium all the way around. On the left, you have an HDMI 2.1 plug, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports for rapid 40 gigabytes per second data transfers, and on the right, USB-A 3.2, 3.5mm audio jack, and an expandable micro SD card slot for up to 2 terabytes of storage. I've always really liked how Samsung included this. In my opinion, it's like a nice little bonus feature if you want to give your laptop a boost in storage or if you want to transfer files in and out quickly. And it does so pretty discreetly. It doesn't stick out, it's practically hidden. The keyboard, in my opinion, is awkwardly laid out due to the extra number pad set. I personally don't use the extra keys, but if you're someone out there that does, you may find it useful. To me though, it just makes the keyboard feel a little bit off-centered, and I can't really rest left palm of my hand fully on the laptop sometimes, much more so than my right hand. It took me just a little bit of getting used to from other laptops, but there hasn't been too much flex on the keyboard, even though it is a large yet thin laptop, which is good. The keys on this feels nimble and the travel distance is short. They have the fingerprint sensor that also acts as your power button at the top right. The setup is easy and does feel very clicky. They also included this AI key, which brings out Windows Copilot. More or less, Copilot works alright. I'd rather just hop on to ChatGPT or something else to help me with things, but mostly I'll use it in a pinch if I were writing emails and I need to rephrase something quickly or summarize something. It can generate some pictures and it connects directly to your Microsoft 365 applications, but I do feel like they just wanted to throw in an extra key or something, The trackpad is considerably large, basically almost the size of my hand, so I had no trouble feeling like I ran out of space while scrolling. Although only the bottom half of the board actually clicks, so I didn't always like that because sometimes my gestures don't fully pick up or I have to lift my hand up again to move the mouse cursor. They could have worked on this part just a little bit better because I do occasionally feel myself double clicking as the laptop won't pick up my hand gestures. Now, the biggest problem I had with last year's Galaxy Book 3 Pro 360 was the huge glare problem. I'm willing to bet one of Samsung's representatives stumbled upon my videos and watched it because they fixed it now. By improving their Corning Gorilla Glass that reduces substantial glare, its anti-reflective cover keeps visuals crisp and legible from all angles, even in bright outdoor environments. Couple this with a max peak brightness of 400 nits and it's not too bad. I tested this by doing some work outside my house on a pretty bright day, and I can still see the screen comfortably. They have their Vision Booster Vibrance feature on here, so it constantly adjusts contrast and colors based on lighting conditions for a consistent vibrant image, indoors or out. Nonetheless, we have a nice and large 16-inch dynamic AMOLED screen that looks super premium at 3K resolution, more specifically 2880 by 1800p. We have 120Hz refresh rate and a DCI P3 color space, and I'm simply in awe. I already knew Samsung has been making great displays for a while now. I see their bright and beautiful TVs at my local electronics stores, their Galaxy phones look great, and so does their laptops. For example, I was watching their latest Avatar: The Last Airbender live action on Netflix lately. Great show in my opinion. And I actually preferred the deep and sharp visuals on the Book 4 360. It looks super rich and smooth, and they've done a great job with this screen. I really enjoyed it. As for content creation, the color accuracy is pretty accurate as well. If you're someone like me that likes photo editing, I'm safe to say that pictures do look true to life with just a slight bump in their vibrancy, which is nice. Other than that, the bezels are very thin, and if it was any thinner than this, I would have had trouble handling this in tablet mode, as my fingers will definitely seep over the edges and misclick, so I think this is as thin as we can go. The speakers, in my opinion, in short, are good enough. They're using AKG quad speakers on the bottom sides, which will have sound shoot towards the bottom and eventually come up. I understand that with their 2-in-1 design, they have to accommodate for having sound come from the opposite side when you flip the tablet, the screen over. And it does get pretty decently loud in both operations, but it doesn't sound the clearest to me in my opinion. Their 5-watt woofer gives a pretty punchy sound, but you can take a listen to this. Moving on to the performance, the Galaxy Book 4 Pro 360 has some pretty interesting hardware packed in here. Samsung is rocking Intel's completely new Meteor Lake Ultra 7 155H processor. This is built on a new architecture and chip design, and it is very energy efficient. This time around has 16 cores at a clock speed at 3.8 GHz. They also have the Intel Arc Graphics GPU and an NPU, which stands for Neural Processing Unit, to handle local AI computations. Let's start with their CPU first. The i7 155H has got a nice bump on the benchmarks, with Geekbench scores coming in at around 12,000 for all the cores combined. Compare this to Apple's M2 at around 9,600, so it does outperform them in synthetic benchmarks. The new Arc Graphics processor is way better than previous generations. If you guys watched my last video on the Dell XPS ones, that was the first time I came across Intel Arc GPUs, and I have nothing but great things to say about them. While the Book 4 Pro 360 was not meant for gaming, it can do it. I booted up my favorite competitive first-person shooter game right now that's free to play, The Finals, which is running at 3K resolution on low settings. There is an average of around 37 frames per second. If you want to bump the resolution down, I'm sure other games will run just fine, and some older titles on 1080p settings with frame rates hitting well above 60. The Book 4 Pro does run a little warm when pushed, and after an hour gaming, I found the keyboard base to be noticeably hotter and the back to be just a bit more toasty up where the processor is. The ventilation does seem well built though, with the fan grills shooting away towards the rear, and overall it doesn't get too loud, just slightly higher pitched than normal, so that might get a little bit annoying after long sessions, but just take a listen to this. Alright, so here's a fan noise test of the Book 4. I'm going to put the microphone just a little bit closer so you can hear that. For normal operations, navigating across the UI, opening and closing out of applications felt very responsive. I didn't feel any lag while using this laptop. 16GB of RAM is plentiful for tasks, and when you bring this over to video editing, DaVinci Resolve's timeline playback felt smooth even while editing 4K clips. Render times came in at around 22 minutes with just a handful of video effects, transitions, and color grades, so that's pretty good. The S Pen that's included with this laptop is very nice as well. That's the main selling point of the Galaxy Book Pro 360 series, and this year it's no different. The pen is very light and enjoyable to use. Samsung has been adopting Wacom's electromagnetic resonance technology, or EMR for short, to use on their pens to simulate an intuitive and as natural feeling experience as possible. The beauty of EMR is that the power can pass through the LCD displays and protective surfaces without the need for any extra external power source, so the S Pen doesn't need any batteries. You don't need to charge this guy. It is magnetic, so it can stick on to a few places on the Galaxy Book, but I still didn't find any real good places to put this on. With the laptop closed, I guess you can lay the pen towards the top here just fine. It won't budge as much. With the laptop open, you can lay it down towards the bottom of the base next to the trackpad, but as far as the size of the screen, it won't stick, alright? It's too thin for that. So for traveling, I do recommend that you keep this close because you could lose this. But the tracking is excellent and feels smooth. As you can tell, there's very minimal delay and lag. I always remember to go into the pen and Windows ink settings to turn on the ignore touch input when I'm using my pen just to reduce any misclicks while taking notes. That just helps minimize any problems while my hand rests on the screen. I'm using Samsung Notes. I think their app is very polished. There's a lot of features packed in here, like changing the background wallpaper and seamlessly exporting of files. If you hold the pen close to the screen and press the side button, you can bring up the Samsung Shortcuts menu where you can choose a variety of different apps like creating notes, ScreenWrite, or Smart Select. I like ScreenWrite the best because it's super useful if you need to take a screenshot of something and just jot down your notes, signature, or anything like that quickly. There's the Smart Select tool, which has a cool GIF creator option where you can record a segment of your screen and form a GIF in no time. I really like how Samsung built this right into the laptop because this is really funny to use, as I can send these to my friends via text messages or emails. And additionally, I played around with the Samsung Gallery app. You do have AI-powered features like photo remaster, so if I wanted to remove shadows, reflections of objects, it can do so pretty well and quick. You don't get this with any other laptop brands, and it's good for on-the-fly edits without needing to buy additional software. So there's actually a couple Windows Studio effects that's enhanced by AI. For example, there's auto framing, so this will just automatically frame the video and kind of follow you throughout. So if you need to do something in a video call, it's pretty cool. There's eye contact, so this looks like my eyes are looking directly at the camera as if I'm talking to a person, which is kind of weird if you ask me, but I like it still nonetheless. I don't know if I'll be turning this on personally. And there's background effects, so, you know, making stuff blurry in the back. What do you guys think? Now, the battery life is on the better sides of things. If you manage your apps and brightness, you can easily get 10 plus hours of time. I usually had this running on high performance though, just to get me through, you know, apps and all that. So I did hear the fan sounds come on a lot and the battery life dying relatively quick. So that was around 4 to 5 hours of usage. But personally, I think it's best for most people to keep it in the optimized mode through the Samsung settings app, as I was averaging around 1.5 days of battery life, which was around 11 hours of screen time. But through my quick battery test of 1 hour of playing games, the Book 4 dropped 41% in total, and after 1 hour of 4K video playback with the maximum brightness, I only lost 9% of total power. Intel's new chipset seems to be treating the 76 watt-hour battery in here very well, so I found efficiency to be better on this from any other laptop I reviewed yet. I like using my AOHi 140 watt GAN charger here. Getting this charge from 0 to 100 takes around 2 hours and 15 minutes. So if you're looking to speed up charging times, I'd recommend getting something like this. Other than that, I think most people would be fine with their included 65 watt brick that Samsung gives you. Sometimes I like to keep my SharkGeek Storm 2 portable power bank in here that has up to 25,000 milliamps of capacity. It's clear, which looks super dope, as you can see the actual circuit board and the individual battery cells. It also shows you the power output of ports, so you can actually see how much is really charging, and the batteries are made up of very high quality cells. I charged this laptop many times using this portable power bank, so I think it's a great companion to my Galaxy Book. Overall, I think the Galaxy Book 4 Pro 360 does everything right. Samsung has been improving on their ecosystem lately, so sharing files like photos and videos have never been easier. When it comes down to note taking and content creation, we all know that the S Pen is great, so I really enjoyed doing that. Samsung applications look really well in here. The 3K AMOLED display looks great. I love the new Intel i7 Ultra chip. The only things I didn't really like was the extra number pad set on the key, how it's like kind of off-center, a somewhat difficult to use trackpad, a slightly wobbly display, and mediocre sounding speakers in my opinion. But hey, if you can look past those problems, I think it's a great laptop for creatives, students, young professionals, entrepreneurs, or anyone out there that's looking for a great, beautiful laptop like this. So that's all I have for today's video. Let me know down in the comments if you are looking at getting this. Do you have the ones before? Do you have any other laptops that you want me to review? I'm happy to hear what you guys are saying. You already know the drill. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.